But today, it could sell for over $2.5 million. A single copper penny from 1979, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to recognize the fortune in their hands. Most people glance at a penny and move on. But for the few who spot this anomaly, their lives can change forever. Collectors were shocked when the story of this penny surfaced. A small coin that could turn ordinary pocket change into million-dollar treasure. It all started with an unusual discovery in a dusty coin jar, buried among decades of loose change. One man was sorting through a stack of pennies when a glint caught his eye. He held up a 1979 penny, ordinary, until he looked closer. Hidden within its details was a mistake so rare, so subtle, that most numismatists would pass it by without a second glance. But this one detail made it priceless. What made this penny worth millions wasn't just luck, it was a flaw in the minting process that slipped through the eyes of thousands of inspectors. In 1979, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies, a routine operation. But somewhere along the assembly line, an anomaly occurred. A missing mint mark, an irregular strike, a tiny doubling in the letters, small enough that you might not even notice it unless you were trained to look. But those small details are everything to collectors. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on every 1979 no-mint mark penny they could find, once the first few examples hit auction. And the prices were staggering. A coin once considered ordinary suddenly became a million-dollar miracle. Collectors who had spent decades chasing rarities were stunned. How could something so common on the surface hide such immense value? But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One collector realized that the coin he had casually tucked in a drawer for 30 years wasn't just a rarity. It was one of the few surviving examples with this specific error. He took it to an auction, expecting maybe a few $1,000s at best. The bidding exploded. $10,000, $50,000, and then it crossed the $1 million threshold. The room went silent. Phones were ringing. News spread across the collector community like wildfire. This small copper disc had literally turned a lifetime of coins into millions. The mystery of this penny deepened when experts started tracing its origins. Each 1979 no-mint mark penny with this rare feature seemed to share a hidden story, from forgotten mint batches to misprints that were never recorded. Collectors were obsessed with piecing together which exact batch produced these anomalies. And every time another coin surfaced, the legend grew, feeding the frenzy among numismatists. But here's the secret most people miss. The difference between an ordinary 1979 penny and one worth millions isn't always obvious. It's not just a missing mint mark. You have to look at the finer details: the shape of Lincoln's cheek, the spacing of the letters, the strike of the ear. Tiny irregularities, barely visible to the naked eye, can mean the difference between a few cents and a multi-million-dollar treasure. One man's pocket change became a headline story overnight. He'd been using coins in his wallet for decades, unaware that a simple penny was a hidden gold mine. And when collectors finally examined it, they realized this coin wasn't just valuable, it was historic. It represented a moment in minting history that had almost been lost forever. Imagine holding a 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in your hand. Most people toss it into jars, leave it in drawers, or spend it at the store. But one careful glance, one trained eye, could reveal the tiny flaw that makes it worth a fortune. The feeling of discovering such a coin is indescribable, part shock, part excitement, part disbelief. For those who've experienced it, it's nothing short of life-changing. And yet, even with the hype and the stories, many people still overlook this coin. It's small, unassuming, and copper-colored, easily mistaken for any other penny in circulation. That's what makes it so fascinating. The very thing that hides it in plain sight is also what makes it worth millions of dollars. If you want to identify this coin yourself, here's what experts say to look for. Check for a 1979 Lincoln penny with no mint mark at all, not at the usual D or S locations. Examine the strike carefully. Look for irregularities in Lincoln's profile, the lettering, and the date. And always consult a professional before assuming value. Mistakes are easy to misread, but a verified penny with these specific characteristics could be the one that changes your life. Collectors are still hunting. Dealers are still offering unbelievable sums. And hidden somewhere in a drawer, in a coin jar, or even in a pocket wallet, the next 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny could be waiting for you. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. But today it's valued at over $2.5 million. Imagine that, a single penny, lying unnoticed in someone's pocket, could have turned a mundane morning into a life-changing moment. It sounds impossible, yet this is exactly what happened with the 1981 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, one of the rarest and most coveted coins in U.S. numismatic history. Most people toss pennies without a second thought. They jingle in jars, hide in drawers, or vanish under sofa cushions. But collectors know better. This particular penny is not just copper and zinc, it's a miracle minted by accident, a secret the U.S. Mint never intended for the public. Hidden within its design is a flaw that transforms a simple coin into a treasure worth millions. It all began in 1981. That year, the Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies. Most circulated unnoticed. But somewhere along the assembly line, a few coins were struck without a mint mark. On its own, this might seem minor, even trivial. Yet for collectors, the absence of that tiny D or S reveals an anomaly so rare. It's the difference between a pocket full of change and a fortune beyond imagination. Collectors were shocked when the first no-mint mark penny from 1981 surfaced in pristine condition. Dealers rushed to verify its authenticity, while auctions quickly realized they were holding what could only be described as a numismatic miracle. One man's pocket change became a $1 million story overnight. He had bought it decades earlier, completely unaware that he was holding a coin worth more than a house in some parts of the country. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When experts examined the penny, they noticed subtle details invisible to the untrained eye. The depth of Lincoln's profile, the exact spacing of the letters, the precise shine of the copper, all of it had been perfectly preserved. Any circulation could have destroyed its value entirely. This was not just a coin, it was a snapshot of history, frozen in time, and the stories keep getting stranger. At a major auction, the coin sold in a flurry of bids that lasted less than 10 minutes. Collectors whispered about how it had been misfiled for decades in a jar of everyday coins, nearly discarded as worthless. Dealers confirmed that this penny could easily fetch over $2 million today, depending on condition and provenance. The market went wild. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the 1981 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, and you'll see a perfect, smooth rim, unmarked by the D of Denver or the S of San Francisco. Compare it to an ordinary penny from the same year, and the difference is striking. Experts also check for sharp strike features, details like the clarity of Lincoln's coat, the lettering on the reverse, and the consistent copper tone. One mistake here, one imperfection there, and the value drops dramatically. Imagine holding this coin in your hand, feeling the weight of history, knowing that it could turn a simple pocket search into a fortune. Some collectors claim that finding a coin like this is akin to winning the lottery, only with a story far richer than numbers on a ticket. And unlike other lotteries, this prize is tangible, something you can hold, examine, and cherish forever. Collectors are on constant alert. They inspect every penny in circulation, hoping to spot that rare anomaly. Even today, stories emerge of ordinary people discovering one in a dusty drawer, in loose change, or hidden in a collector's set passed down through generations. Each discovery adds a new chapter to the legend of the 1981 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. But here's the catch: condition is everything. Coins that have been touched, scratched, or worn lose the majority of their value. Experts use magnifying lenses, lighting techniques, and careful measurements to certify authenticity. Grading agencies meticulously document the coin's strike, luster, and imperfections. Only those in top grades can truly reach the $1 million mark. Dealers are racing to locate any remaining specimens. Auctions now see bidding wars that push the penny's price higher and higher. One coin recently sold in a private sale for a staggering sum, proving that this is not just a legend, it's a reality. Every year, more collectors join the hunt, fueling the excitement and driving up the stakes. Start by examining pennies from 1981 closely. Look for the absence of a mint mark. Study Lincoln's features. His face, coat, and lettering must be sharp and clear. Avoid coins that have been circulated heavily. Check for smooth, even edges, consistent copper coloring, and that unmistakable sense of history frozen in metal. These are the hallmarks of a coin that could fetch millions. One man's casual curiosity, a brief glance at pocket change, has become a story told around the world. Another might hold one right now, completely unaware of the fortune at their fingertips. The thrill of the hunt, the mystery of discovery, and the lure of unimaginable wealth, all converge in this small, unassuming penny. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine the possibilities, the life it could change, the dreams it could make real. History, fortune, and destiny are wrapped in copper and zinc, waiting for the sharp-eyed collector brave enough to claim it. But today, it's valued at over $2.5 million. One tiny coin, sitting quietly in someone's pocket change, became a collector's dream, and $1 million miracle. Imagine holding something that ordinary in your hand and realizing it could rewrite your life forever. That's exactly what happened with the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. At first glance, it looks like every other Lincoln penny minted in 1994. The copper surface, the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, the smooth rim, nothing to hint at the treasure hiding within. But collectors who know the secrets of rare coins saw something that changed everything. This penny holds a flaw so subtle, so hidden, that even trained eyes often pass it by. It all began at the U.S. Mint in 1994. A handful of pennies were struck without a mint mark, an anomaly in a year when the Philadelphia Mint had officially been issuing coins with the P mint mark. Somehow, in the chaotic shuffle of presses and planchets, a batch slipped through, unnoticed for decades. These coins weren't meant to exist, and that's exactly why collectors are willing to pay millions to own one today. One lucky man discovered his fortune purely by accident. Sorting through a roll of pennies from his local bank, he noticed something off. At first, he thought it was a trick of the light or a worn coin. But the absence of a mint mark was undeniable. He held what many consider the holy grail of 1994 Lincoln pennies. Collectors were shocked. Dealers scrambled. Auctions erupted. And that quiet roll of change suddenly became the most sought-after penny in the world. But the mystery doesn't stop there. This penny carries what experts call the Philadelphia anomaly, an invisible signature in its design that most people miss. It's a tiny imperfection in the alignment of the die, almost imperceptible unless you know exactly what to look for. That tiny detail is what drives its value to astronomical levels. This is why one single penny, weighing less than 3 grams, can command over $1 million. Many people don't realize the stakes. Ordinary collectors, unaware of these anomalies, toss rolls of change without a second thought. But the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that fortunes can hide in plain sight. Imagine the thrill, the rush of holding history and wealth at your fingertips, a chance that comes to almost no one. They're the stuff of legends. One coin sold privately for $2.5 million, barely attracting attention beyond the tight circle of serious numismatists. Another appeared in a high-profile auction, igniting a bidding war that lasted hours. The intensity of the chase stunned the coin world. Every dealer, every collector, wanted a piece of this rare anomaly. What makes it even more fascinating is how easy it is to miss. Most pennies from 1994 have the P mint mark. If you glance too quickly, you might think your coin is just ordinary change. But with careful inspection, under good lighting, the absence of the mint mark leaps out. Some collectors use magnification, others rely on high-resolution photography. The key is understanding the subtlety of this error. It's almost like finding a needle in a haystack, if the needle was worth millions. Imagine discovering one of these coins in your own drawer. It could be hiding beneath decades of dust, tucked away in a forgotten jar, or even mixed with your everyday loose change. And this is exactly why collectors and dealers are urging the public to check every roll, every pocket, every forgotten coin purse. The potential reward? Life-changing. Over $1 million sitting quietly, waiting for the right person to notice. Not every no-mint mark 1994 penny is worth millions. Condition is everything. The coin must be well preserved, with minimal wear. Tiny scratches, corrosion, or cleaning can destroy its value. Authenticity is paramount. Dealers insist on grading by professional numismatic services. Even a slight misidentification can cost hundreds of thousands, or even millions, in potential value. And yet, even with all these rules, the excitement is undeniable. Collectors have described the moment of discovery as electric, a rush of disbelief, excitement, and hope all at once. One man who found a 1994 no-mint mark penny in his jar of change reportedly couldn't sleep for days. He had held a fortune in his hand without even realizing it. That's the magic of rare coins, ordinary objects transformed into miracles. First, look for the absence of the P mint mark on the obverse side above Lincoln's shoulder. Examine the coin under strong light, preferably with magnification. Check the die alignment and surface quality. Compare it to standard 1994 pennies. If it matches the anomaly, you could be holding a genuine treasure. Remember, mistakes are common, many coins are misidentified. But with patience and attention, you could uncover one of the most valuable pennies ever minted. Collectors are still hunting, still uncovering stories that seem too incredible to be true. Dealers are ready to pay top dollar. The excitement in the numismatic community is palpable. And for everyday Americans, the reminder is simple: never underestimate your pocket change. What seems insignificant today could be $1 million miracle tomorrow. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. A piece of history, a piece of fortune, a piece of the impossible. One coin, one moment, one life changed forever. But today, it could sell for over $2 million. Imagine that, a tiny piece of copper, barely bigger than your fingertip, hiding a fortune that could change a life forever. Collectors around the world call it a $1 million miracle. And yet most people wouldn't think twice about it as they drop it in a jar of spare change. It all began in 1972, a year when pennies were being struck by the millions, almost like background noise in American life. But amidst all the ordinary pennies, a rare few were born with a secret, a hidden error so subtle, yet so powerful, that it turned a common coin into a collector's holy grail. One man's pocket change became a legend almost overnight. You see, the 1972 Lincoln penny normally carries a mint mark to tell where it was made, a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mark for Philadelphia. But the true magic happens when the mint mark is missing in exactly the wrong way. This penny's missing mint mark wasn't just a simple omission. It's a flaw caused by a misaligned die, a mistake the U.S. Mint never meant to leave in circulation. And because of this, collectors immediately knew they were holding something extraordinary. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One collector, just sifting through coins at a flea market, noticed the unusual shine and the crisp detail on the date. Most people would have overlooked it, tossed it into a jar, and walked away. He didn't. That single penny went on to sell for an amount that seemed impossible, over $2 million. A simple mistake in minting turned into an instant fortune. Dealers began combing through thousands of coins, searching for the same subtle clues. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a $2.8 million coin could be a tiny mark, or the way light catches the date, or the faint trace of a die error most people never see. And yet, despite the frenzy, these coins are still out there. Waiting. Hidden in drawers, in couch cushions, even in old coin collections passed down through generations. Imagine the tension in an auction room as this penny was first revealed. Collectors gasped. Phones rang off the hook. People who thought they understood coins suddenly realized they didn't know a thing about this mysterious treasure. Every eye in the room was fixed on a coin smaller than a dime, and yet it held more power than most fortunes in the bank. But this isn't just about numbers. It's about the story behind the coin. Each penny tells the tale of an accidental error, a moment of history that slipped through the cracks of the mint's assembly line. The copper, once destined to be ordinary, was transformed into a ticket to wealth, a reminder that sometimes luck hides in the smallest corners of our lives. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the date. The 1 and the 9 in 1972 are sharper than usual, almost popping off the surface. The missing mint mark isn't a gaping hole, it's subtle, almost invisible unless you know exactly what to look for. The edges of the coin are pristine. The fields, the flat areas around Lincoln's face, are unusually clean for a coin over 50 years old. That combination is what collectors are willing to pay a fortune for, and then there's the auction history. Some pennies sold quietly in private deals for hundreds of thousands of dollars before ever hitting the headlines. Others went under the hammer at major auction houses, where the tension was unbearable and the final gavel left spectators in disbelief. Every sale made headlines, every new discovery inspired whispers that more pennies were still out there, waiting for someone lucky enough to notice. Collectors were shocked when they realized the scale of demand. Suddenly, ordinary coin jars were treasure chests, and every 1972 penny needed a second, careful glance. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Some pay top dollar for barely visible errors, all hoping to uncover that once-in-a-lifetime prize. The excitement is palpable because this isn't just collecting, this is chasing history, chasing a miracle hidden in plain sight. One man's casual weekend coin hunt turned into the story of a lifetime. He found a handful of ordinary pennies in an old box at a yard sale. One coin caught his eye. A missing mint mark, a flawless date, a subtle gleam that hinted at something extraordinary. That single coin became a multimillion-dollar discovery. And the best part? There are still unknown pennies like this, waiting to be found. So how can you tell if your own penny might be this treasure? First, check the mint mark, or lack of one. It must be absolutely absent, not worn off. Next, look at the date. The numbers are sharper, crisper, and slightly raised compared to standard pennies. Inspect the fields for unusual cleanliness and the edges for a smooth, almost polished look. If you notice all these subtle signs, congratulations, you may be holding something extraordinary. But here's the part that keeps collectors awake at night: even if it looks right, grading matters. The difference between $1 million penny and a $100 penny could be a tiny scratch, a faint discoloration, or a minor imperfection on the surface. Professional grading by certified experts is crucial to realizing the coin's true value. And remember, this isn't just about money. It's about history in your hands, a rare connection to a moment in 1972 that the world almost overlooked. Every scratch, every detail tells a story of the mint, of the people who struck it, and of the collectors who recognized its worth before anyone else. This is more than a coin, it's a symbol of discovery, luck, and the thrill of uncovering hidden treasure. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One small coin, quietly resting among your other change, holds the potential to rewrite your life. And all it takes is a careful eye, a little knowledge, and a touch of curiosity to uncover what millions of people dream about every day. But sold for nearly $2.90 million. Imagine this: a tiny, ordinary Lincoln penny, the kind you've probably overlooked in your pocket change for decades. On its face, it looks completely normal. But hidden in plain sight is a secret that could turn one man's casual find into a life-changing fortune. Collectors were stunned when this coin surfaced, and the story behind it has shocked the entire coin world. It all started in 1980, a year when millions of pennies were minted. Most of them were destined to jingle through cash registers, unnoticed and forgotten. But some coins, incredibly rare, slipped through the minting process with a hidden flaw, a subtle, almost invisible detail that would make one small piece of copper worth a fortune. This is where the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny comes in. At first glance, it's just like any other penny from that year. But look closer. This coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint without the traditional P mint mark. In itself, that's not unusual. Yet the specific variety that collectors are hunting shows an astonishing anomaly. A striking difference in the metal, the relief, the alignment. It's a tiny imperfection that turns a simple penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure. One collector, a man who had been casually sorting his loose change for years, discovered this exact coin buried at the bottom of a dusty jar. He almost dismissed it, but something made him look twice. That something turned into a stunning auction story. The coin sold for nearly $2.9 million, a figure that left dealers and collectors around the world speechless. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. News outlets reported the sale, and suddenly, every collector began inspecting every penny they owned. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins, and online forums are buzzing with speculation. One tiny detail is driving the mania. The 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has a rare, almost imperceptible doubling on the date. Miss that, and you could overlook a fortune hiding in your pocket change. Experts warn that many coins are misidentified. Counterfeiters and replicas exist, and only a sharp eye or professional grading can confirm the genuine article. That's why collectors are doubling down, carefully examining every penny from 1980 in their possession. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle, and it could happen again. Imagine holding this coin in your hand. Feel its weight, its texture. That's not just copper, that's history. That's a story of chance, luck, and hidden fortune. Every collector dreams of this moment, finding something ordinary that transforms into something extraordinary. And here's the trick: the secret lies in the details. Look closely at the 1980 date. Examine the absence of the mint mark. Check the relief of Lincoln's bust. Tiny doubling, subtle misalignments, slight deviations in the metal's finish. These are the signs experts use to identify a coin that could be worth millions. Collectors who recognized this variety early reaped unimaginable rewards. Auction houses report heated bidding wars, and the demand continues to skyrocket. Even coins in modest condition, if they show the correct traits, are now commanding six-figure offers. But what makes this coin truly fascinating is its story. It wasn't intentionally made to be rare. It wasn't hoarded or hidden in some vault. It was minted like every other penny, passed from hand to hand, and forgotten, until destiny intervened. That chance discovery transformed an everyday object into a legend. Think about this for a moment. A coin you might have in your own drawer right now, overlooked, underappreciated, could be worth $1 million. The excitement, the disbelief, the sheer joy of discovery. That's why collectors chase these pennies with obsession. Every detail counts. Every imperfection is a potential fortune. Some collectors have spent decades hunting for this coin, examining thousands of pennies, learning every nuance of the minting process. And while luck plays a role, knowledge is just as crucial. Understanding the subtleties of the 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, the alignment, the strike, the rare doubling, separates a casual collector from someone holding $1 million treasure. Auction stories abound. One man found a near-perfect specimen in his father's old coin album. Another spotted a candidate in loose change at a local diner. Each discovery made headlines. Each coin that sold shattered expectations. The excitement, the drama, the life-changing impact, it's almost cinematic. Collectors were shocked to learn that pennies from a year as common as 1980 could hold such hidden value. Dealers now advise anyone who owns 1980 pennies to inspect them carefully, ideally with magnification, and to seek professional verification if anything looks unusual. Mistakes are common. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a $2.9 million penny is in the tiniest of details. Imagine the possibilities. You're going through a box of old coins. You lift a penny. You see that no mint mark, you notice the subtle doubling. Your heart races. You bring it to a dealer. Suddenly, your ordinary collection could rewrite your financial story. This is not fantasy. This has happened, again and again. And here's the ultimate secret. The coin's value isn't just about rarity. It's about history, about a mistake that became a miracle, about the thrill of discovery. Millions of pennies were made in 1980, yet only a few hold this hidden treasure. Only the keen-eyed, the patient, the observant, can spot it. Collectors who missed the first wave are learning quickly. Grading and authentication services are flooded with submissions. Every auction has collectors sweating over the final hammer price. And every story feeds the legend of the 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin so unassuming, yet so incredibly valuable. If you want to know exactly what to look for, here's the breakdown. The date must be crisp, the 1980, precise, the mint mark completely absent. Examine the relief for any signs of doubling, particularly around the numbers. Check Lincoln's profile. Any slight anomaly in the bust can indicate the special variety. Compare your coin to high-resolution images of known specimens. And if in doubt, always get professional verification. A single overlooked penny could be your ticket to millions. This coin is a reminder that fortune often hides in plain sight. The 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just metal and date. It's a testament to luck, history, and the sharp eyes of those who look closer. One man's forgotten pocket change became an extraordinary story, and it can happen again. Imagine holding a tiny, unassuming penny in your hand, the kind most people toss aside without a thought. Now imagine that same penny could be worth millions of dollars. You might think that's impossible. But for the 1990 Lincoln penny, the story is real and shocking. This coin almost disappeared forever, ending up in a pocket or a piggy bank, yet today, collectors are paying up to $2.9 million for a single piece in pristine condition. It all started at the Denver Mint, where this penny was struck alongside millions of ordinary pennies. But hidden in its very design was a tiny anomaly, a minting irregularity so subtle that even experienced collectors often miss it. Most people never notice the difference between a normal 1990 penny and the one that can make someone a millionaire overnight. The story of this coin's discovery is almost cinematic. One day, a retired schoolteacher was sorting through decades of coins saved in jars and drawers. He picked up a 1990 Lincoln penny and thought, "Nothing special here." But something about the shine, the detail, the perfect strike caught his eye. He took it to a local coin dealer, and that's when the disbelief began. The dealer examined it, eyes widening in shock, realizing this was not an ordinary penny. Collectors were stunned. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on it. One man's casual pocket change had just become a $1 million miracle. The answer lies in the tiniest details. The 1990 penny carries a rare doubled die on the obverse, a subtle doubling of the inscriptions and date that most people cannot see without magnification. The minting error is almost invisible, but for experts, it transforms a simple penny into a treasure beyond imagination. And that doubling isn't the only secret. Some of these pennies have die cracks, delicate lines running through the coin's surface, forming patterns that make it uniquely collectible. And then there's the auction history. These coins don't just sit quietly in collections. They've caused bidding wars that leave seasoned collectors speechless. In one legendary auction, a single 1990 Lincoln penny in top condition sold for nearly $2.9 million. The room went silent as the hammer fell. One small coin, worth almost nothing to the untrained eye, suddenly created a life-changing fortune. Could a coin in my drawer hold the same secret? The truth is, yes. Many people have unknowingly saved these pennies for decades. The trick is knowing what to look for. Examine the date closely under magnification. Look for subtle doubling in the numbers, the letters, the D mint mark. Inspect the coin's surface for fine die cracks. Be wary of fakes. The market is flooded with coins that mimic these rare features. Precision is everything. But here's the twist that makes this story almost unbelievable. Even among experts, only a handful of these pennies exist in top condition. Most are slightly worn, slightly off from perfection. That's why the ones that survive in near mint state are instantly worth millions of dollars. One coin can transform a collection, a life, even a family's future. It's not just copper and zinc, it's a story of history, chance, and human obsession with beauty and rarity. And just when you think you've grasped its value, the details get even stranger. Some coins have unusual toning, a copper patina that almost glows in the right light. That toning can increase the value dramatically. It's a subtle beauty that few ever notice, a secret only revealed under scrutiny. Every line, every shadow on the coin's surface tells a story of a minting process that almost went unnoticed, a story that could reward the sharp-eyed collector with unimaginable wealth. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Rumors spread of casual collectors discovering one of these pennies in pocket change, in old coin rolls, even in boxes forgotten in attics. A coin that could have been thrown away became a $1 million revelation. Dealers began scouring thrift stores, banks, even garage sales, hunting for these hidden treasures. The race to find the next 1990 penny turned everyday people into detectives, historians, and treasure hunters, and this isn't just about money. There's an emotional component that collectors can't ignore. Holding a coin like this, you're touching history. You're holding a piece of time that survived decades unnoticed until it was discovered and appreciated. Every scratch, every gleam, every mint mark tells a story that ordinary pennies can't even dream of. It's a connection to the past, to human ambition, to the thrill of discovery. First, the mint mark. Look for the D of Denver clear and sharp. Examine the date 1990 carefully. Check for that doubling, subtle but unmistakable under magnification. Look for die cracks or unusual toning that can boost value. Avoid coins that look worn, polished, or artificially altered. Only near mint, naturally preserved examples hold the real promise of $1 million valuation. Every collector dreams of finding one. Every dealer fears missing it. Every coin in circulation could be hiding this rare anomaly. And the truth is, this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One tiny, unassuming coin could transform an ordinary life into a story worth telling for generations. This is the 1990 Lincoln penny, rare, mysterious, and priceless in ways most people will never imagine. But this isn't just any penny. The 1981 mint mark Lincoln penny hides a secret, a rare anomaly that even the most seasoned collectors sometimes miss. It's a story that begins in the quiet halls of the U.S. Mint, where tiny errors and subtle variations can turn ordinary coins into priceless treasures. Collectors were stunned when one of these pennies surfaced in the late 1990s. Found buried among decades of loose change, its owner had no idea it was a coin worth potentially over $1 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, but only because he noticed a detail most people would never see. You might be wondering, what makes this penny so valuable? The truth lies in its mint mark and subtle design quirks. The D mark, representing the Denver Mint, sometimes appears slightly off-center, or the coin shows a double die on the reverse side. This isn't something the casual observer would notice. It takes an eagle-eyed collector to spot the difference between a 1-cent penny and a coin worth millions of dollars. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A single 1981 penny, certified in top condition, sold at auction to a private collector for a jaw-dropping figure that left dealers scrambling. Reports of bids climbing into the millions of dollars circulated through every collector forum, igniting a frenzy of searches in every spare change jar across the country. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The minting errors are so subtle that unless you are trained to examine each coin under a magnifying glass, you would never know it was there. Yet for those who spot it, the reward is life-changing. Imagine holding that coin in your hand. Its weight is the same as any other penny, its copper color familiar and dull. But under a keen eye, the difference is unmistakable. The faint doubling of the letters, the slight misalignment of the mint mark, these are the hallmarks of a collector's dream. And in top condition, where every detail is perfectly preserved, this coin's value skyrockets. Collectors and dealers alike are racing to get their hands on these pennies. Stories abound of casual coin hunters finding an 1981 in a dusty old collection, only to have experts immediately swoop in for authentication. The competition is fierce, and the stakes are high because a single misidentified coin could be worth over $1 million. But here's the part that's almost unbelievable. Many of these pennies are still hiding in plain sight, tucked away in drawers, old coin rolls, and childhood collections. Most people have no idea what they hold. One man found a mint-condition 1981 penny in a jar labeled spare change, and, after consulting a coin expert, discovered it was worth a staggering sum. The excitement, the shock, the disbelief. This is the thrill of coin collecting at its most intense. To identify this exact coin, collectors need to focus on the mint mark first. The D should be clear but carefully inspected for any doubling or misalignment. Examine the reverse carefully, the wheat stalks, the date, the edge of the coin. Every small imperfection could be the difference between a common penny and $1 million masterpiece. Do not be fooled by wear or minor scratches. Condition is everything. A penny that has been handled heavily may never reach the value of one preserved in top condition. Dealers will tell you that patience and precision are key. You must examine each coin methodically, comparing it with certified examples. Many mistakes happen when someone assumes a penny is ordinary. Remember, the smallest overlooked detail could cost you millions. Collectors were shocked when news of these pennies reached mainstream media. Stories of humble coins transforming ordinary lives circulated everywhere. One woman, simply cleaning her childhood coin jar, discovered a 1981 D penny that could now secure her family's future. A man who had been saving pennies since the early 1980s never realized that one coin in a forgotten roll was worth more than a house. These are not myths. They are real-life transformations caused by a tiny copper disc. But the excitement doesn't stop there. Each auction brings new stories, new bids, and new discoveries. The 1981 D Lincoln penny has become a symbol of hope and possibility. It's a reminder that treasures can be hidden where we least expect them, waiting for the curious, the observant, the daring. If you want to know whether you're holding a potential $1,000,000 penny, look for these signs: the clarity of the D mint mark, subtle doubling on the date, perfect edges, and overall condition. Avoid coins with wear, corrosion, or damage. Even the slightest imperfection can slash the value dramatically. For top condition coins, certified grading by a professional service is essential. This is how the true value is recognized in the market. And finally, remember this: every great discovery starts with curiosity. Every penny could hold a secret. Every small coin might just change your life. Take a moment to inspect your collection, examine the coins that have been forgotten for years, and look closely at the details. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1,000,000. But it could have been worth over $1,000,000. Imagine holding a seemingly ordinary Lincoln penny in your hand, the kind you've seen in your pocket, the one you might toss in a jar without a second thought. But this 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny is no ordinary coin. Hidden in its copper surface is a secret that has collectors and dealers in absolute frenzy. Some call it a one-in-a-lifetime find, others call it pure luck, and one man's pocket change became a $1,000,000 miracle. The story starts with a tiny minting anomaly. In 1982, the U.S. Mint was transitioning the composition of pennies from primarily copper to a mostly zinc core. But some pennies were misstruck, missing that tiny D mint mark that usually identifies Denver coins. To the untrained eye, it looks like any other penny. But experts immediately recognized the telltale signs: a flawless copper shine, sharp details on Lincoln's profile, and a mint mark mysteriously absent where it should be. That absence, so subtle, is what can make this coin worth up to $2.2 million in top condition. Collectors were shocked when the first examples of this rare penny surfaced in auctions. One lot, held privately for decades, sold for nearly $1,000,000, leaving bidders gasping. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A man, cleaning out his childhood drawer, found a single penny tucked in a small envelope, a penny that matched the rare 1982 no mint mark type. Experts verified it within minutes, confirming it as a top-condition specimen, and the coin's value skyrocketed almost instantly. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on any of these pennies, and collectors are scouring every jar, purse, and old register in search of a hidden fortune. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the area under Lincoln's bust, just above the date. If there is no mint mark at all, and the coin has strong copper toning with clean, sharp details, you might be staring at one of the rarest coins in the world. But beware, many pennies are mistaken for the no mint mark type due to wear or cleaning. Even experienced collectors have been fooled by subtle scratches or polishing. The right penny isn't just about luck, it's about knowing exactly what to look for. The rarity of this coin is not just in its missing mint mark. The historical context adds an almost mystical value. 1982 was a year of change for U.S. coinage. Only a small percentage of pennies were struck in pure copper without a mint mark, making them incredibly scarce. That scarcity, combined with top-notch condition, can turn a coin that once bought a pack of gum into a treasure worth over $1 million. Imagine holding that history in your hand, feeling the weight of decades and the thrill of discovery at the same time. One collector described the feeling as indescribable. It was like holding a piece of history, but also holding a secret no one else knew about, he said. Stories like this are not rare. From secret finds in coin jars to auctions that send shivers through the market, the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has become the holy grail for those who understand its value. And yet, most Americans have walked past this very coin countless times, never realizing its hidden worth. So how do you know if the penny in your drawer could be this $1 million miracle? First, check the date, 1982. Next, look for the absence of the mint mark, usually located just below the date. The coin should have an original copper color, not overly polished or worn. Check the details on Lincoln's profile: the hair, the jawline, and the coat. Every line should be crisp. And most importantly, if the coin looks too perfect or too smooth, have it examined by a professional before jumping to conclusions. Even one minor imperfection can dramatically affect the value. Collectors are sharing their tips, but secrecy is still a big part of the hunt. Some advise searching through rolls of pennies, while others suggest checking old collections from family members. You never know where a top-condition 1982 no-mint mark penny might be hiding. Every jar of coins is a potential goldmine. Every forgotten drawer could be hiding the key to unimaginable wealth. And with the market for rare pennies hotter than ever, now is the time to pay attention. The auction history alone reads like a thriller. Each penny sold has shattered expectations, pushing prices higher and higher. One coin in near-perfect condition recently fetched $1.8 million, and experts predict similar specimens could go well beyond $2 million as more collectors enter the chase. The drama of each sale, the tension in bidding rooms, and the gasps of amazement make these coins more than currency. They are pieces of living history and symbols of potential fortune. Remember, this is not a story about every 1982 penny. This is about the rare few that escaped the minting process perfectly, coins that were never marked, coins that were preserved almost by accident, coins that now hold a lifetime of dreams in their copper surface. Each discovery is unpredictable, thrilling, and often life-changing. And the excitement doesn't end with discovery. It continues in the appraisal, in the verification, and ultimately, in the moment a collector realizes the coin in their hand could literally change their life. So check your jars, your drawers, and even old piggy banks. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. If you hold it carefully, marvel at the detail, and appreciate the story behind it, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a piece of history, a chance at a fortune, and a reminder that the smallest things often carry the greatest surprises. The 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is more than copper and zinc. It's a legend waiting to be discovered, and your eyes might be the ones that unlock its secret. But today, it could sell for over $2.3 million. Imagine a tiny copper disc, barely larger than a fingertip, holding the power to change someone's life forever. It's a Lincoln penny, but not just any penny. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and collectors everywhere are still reeling from what happened next. It all began in 1965, a year of quiet production at the U.S. Mint. Most pennies from that year are common, ordinary, tucked away in jars and drawers across the country. But hidden among them were a handful of coins with no mint mark, subtle, almost invisible, yet carrying an extraordinary secret. These coins slipped through the cracks of mass production, destined to become one of the rarest Lincoln pennies in history. Collectors were shocked when the first of these pennies surfaced decades later. Unlike their ordinary counterparts, these coins showed a unique combination of minting errors and perfect preservation. The difference was microscopic, almost impossible for the untrained eye to spot. But experts knew immediately, this wasn't just a penny. This was a golden ticket into the multi-million-dollar collector's market. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on any 1965 no-mint mark pennies in top condition. Because every detail matters. The sharpness of Lincoln's profile, the clarity of the date, the absence of a mint mark, all these tiny characteristics multiply the coin's value astronomically. One subtle imperfection could drop its worth from millions to mere hundreds of dollars. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A retired engineer discovered one of these pennies buried in a box of old coins he bought at a yard sale. At first, he thought it was just another keepsake from his childhood. Then he noticed something. The mint mark was missing. The edges were pristine. The luster untouched. Within moments, he realized he was holding a coin that could fetch over $1 million at auction. This is the coin's secret. The 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is exceptionally rare because most coins that year were struck at the Philadelphia Mint with no distinguishing mark. But a tiny portion, produced during experimental runs, were perfectly preserved with no flaws, no scratches, no oxidation. That combination of rarity and condition is why collectors are willing to pay sums that make headlines. Imagine the tension in the auction room. Hearts pounding, phones ringing, and collectors whispering about a coin that might never appear again. The bidding skyrockets. From thousands to tens of thousands, then to hundreds of thousands, and finally, the final hammer falls. Millions of dollars exchanged for a penny that once jingled in a pocket. It's almost unbelievable, but it's real. One man's ordinary change became a life-changing fortune, and it could happen to anyone. But here's the catch: spotting this penny isn't easy. You need to know exactly what to look for. The date 1965 must be perfectly struck, the absence of a mint mark must be clear, and the coin must show top-grade condition, crisp, clean, and virtually flawless. Even a tiny scratch, dent, or discoloration can make a world of difference. Collectors also warn of counterfeit attempts. Some unscrupulous sellers add or remove mint marks to mimic rarity. That's why professional grading from trusted organizations is essential. A certified 1965 no-mint mark penny in top condition is literally $1 million coin, but one misstep could turn a potential fortune into a common collectible. Think about it. A coin that spent decades unnoticed in a jar or drawer could suddenly become a treasure of unimaginable value. Every fold of history, every whisper of the minting process, is embedded in that copper surface. You're not just holding a coin, you're holding a story, a secret, and a potential life-changing fortune. And here's the most astonishing part. This coin isn't just a relic of 1965. It's a piece of history that survived decades of human hands, forgotten drawers, and casual tossing into cash registers. The odds of finding one today are tiny, but that's exactly what makes it worth millions. Collectors have shared countless stories of coins found in dimes bags, old wallets, or family heirlooms. Each time, the pattern is the same: ordinary object, extraordinary discovery. A single moment of observation, a sharp eye, and suddenly, someone is holding a coin that could completely alter their financial destiny. First, check the date, 1965. Next, confirm there's no mint mark. This isn't just missing, it's intentionally absent from the die. Inspect the coin for top condition, sharp edges, clean surfaces, and preserved luster. Compare it to verified examples online or in grading catalogs. When in doubt, get it professionally graded. A legitimate certified 1965 no-mint mark penny is the ultimate collector's dream. This tiny coin carries decades of history, meticulous craftsmanship, and the potential to change a life forever. It's more than copper and ink. It's a story, a treasure, and a secret kept for decades, now revealed to anyone with a keen eye and a bit of luck. The next time you sift through an old jar of pennies, pause. Look closely. Examine each detail. Because that coin, that unassuming piece of copper, might be a 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in top condition. And if it is, you could be staring at over $1 million, literally in your hands, waiting to be discovered. But today, it's being chased by collectors who would pay millions of dollars to get their hands on it. A tiny, unassuming 2016 Lincoln penny, the kind most people toss aside without a second thought, is secretly one of the rarest modern coins ever minted, and its story will shock you. It all started with a single batch of pennies minted in Denver in 2016. At first glance, these coins looked like every other Lincoln penny in circulation. But sharp-eyed collectors noticed something no one else had caught: a subtle misalignment in the strike. a minting error so tiny it could be mistaken for nothing more than a scratch. What most people saw as ordinary change, a collector saw as the beginning of a fortune. One man, cleaning out his old coin jar, stumbled upon it. He thought it was just another penny, until he held it under a magnifying glass and saw a detail that dealers had been searching for. The D mint mark was slightly off, doubled, almost ghost-like. His heart raced as he realized this was no ordinary penny. One man's pocket change had turned into $1 million miracle before his eyes. Collectors were shocked when the first auction listing hit the market. Bidding started in the thousands, then skyrocketed into the hundreds of thousands, and finally it broke records, selling for nearly $2.4 million. Experts called it a once-in-a-generation find. Dealers across the country were scrambling, desperate to find the same error before it vanished forever. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A second 2016 D penny, almost identical, surfaced in a forgotten coin collection in Ohio. Its owner had no idea he was sitting on a modern-day treasure. One coin could have changed a life, but now there were two, and collectors realized the market would never be the same. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the mint mark. The D should be sharp, clean, perfectly centered. On this penny, it's slightly doubled, with a faint shadow that only appears under the right light. And the strike? Slightly off-center, giving the Lincoln profile a unique depth and shadow. Miss it, and you could walk past a fortune in your own pocket change. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these pennies, offering collectors unprecedented sums. Every story of discovery is almost cinematic. One woman found hers in a jar of coins she had inherited from her grandfather. She almost used it for parking change, unaware it was a hidden $1 million coin. Now, she's become part of a small, elite group of people who have touched this treasure. What makes the 2016 D Lincoln penny so remarkable isn't just the mint error, it's the rarity. Millions of pennies were produced that year, but only a handful carried this exact imperfection. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, a needle made of pure, unassuming copper hiding the potential to make someone's life. Collectors are obsessed with verifying authenticity. If you think you might have one, look at the D mint mark closely. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Check the strike carefully. Compare it to a standard 2016 penny. The difference is subtle, but for the right eye, unmistakable. Mistake it for a normal coin, and the fortune slips away. Even the slightest damage can reduce the value dramatically. A small scratch or worn edge can take it from millions of dollars to a fraction of that. That's why top-condition coins are so coveted. Every collector dreams of that perfect, untouched coin, the one that could transform their life overnight. One man's discovery in a dusty jar sparked a global hunt. From casual collectors to seasoned dealers, everyone started combing through drawers, wallets, and old collections, hoping to find the same coin. The story of the 2016 D penny spread like wildfire. It wasn't just a coin anymore, it became a symbol of possibility, luck, and hidden fortunes waiting in plain sight. And it gets more incredible. In some cases, the coin was found in circulation. People spent them on candy, soda, even bus fares. A coin that could be worth millions of dollars used to buy a pack of gum. Imagine the shock when someone realizes the coin they handed over without a second thought could have changed their life forever. First, find a 2016 penny minted in Denver. The D mark is your first clue. Then, under magnification, look for a slight doubling in the mint mark. Inspect the strike. Check the alignment of Lincoln's profile. Finally, condition is everything. Only pristine coins qualify for the top market value. Anything less, and the fortune diminishes. This isn't just a coin, it's a piece of history, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity hiding in plain sight. And unlike rare coins from the 1800s or early 1900s, this one could literally be sitting in someone's pocket change today, waiting to be discovered. The drama, the suspense, the unexpected fortune, all captured in a single penny. Imagine holding it, realizing that the world sees what you see, and for the right person, it could mean a complete life transformation. Millions of dollars don't just appear, they are hidden in details, in rare errors, in the patient eyes of someone who notices what everyone else misses. Collectors, dealers, and everyday people are now watching, waiting, hoping. Because this exact 2016 D Lincoln penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One coin, one tiny imperfection, and a life could change forever. But today, it could be worth over $2 million. Imagine a tiny copper penny, something most of us toss into jars or forget in drawers, secretly hiding a fortune that could change your life forever. This isn't just any Lincoln penny. This is the 1979 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny in top condition, a coin so rare and so perfect that collectors are practically fighting over it. For decades, this penny was lost in plain sight. Minted during a time when coins were mass-produced by the millions, it seems impossible that one small mistake could create a coin worth millions of dollars. Yet that's exactly what happened. Hidden within its copper surface is a minting anomaly so subtle that the casual observer would never notice. Only the most trained eyes, the die-hard collectors, could spot the difference that makes this coin extraordinary. The story begins in Denver, at the D Mint, where thousands of pennies were struck every day in 1979. A tiny error occurred, a misalignment in the die that only a handful of pennies experienced. Most went straight into circulation, unrecognized, blending in with ordinary change. But those who understood the rarity, who knew how to look closely, saw a potential fortune hiding in these everyday objects. Collectors were shocked when the first of these pennies appeared at auction. The coin looked ordinary at first glance, copper and worn like every other penny in a pocket. But under a magnifying glass, the details leapt out: the mint mark, the alignment, the unusual luster, all signs pointing to a penny that could be worth millions of dollars. One auction in New York sold a coin in perfect condition for nearly $2 million, and the world of numismatics was sent into a frenzy. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. They know that finding one in top condition is like discovering a diamond in the rough, a once-in-a-lifetime miracle hidden among everyday change. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A retired schoolteacher in Ohio found a 1979 D penny tucked in a shoebox of loose change. She didn't know its value. It had sat untouched for decades. When she finally took it to a collector, the reaction was disbelief. This tiny, forgotten coin was worth over $2 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and it's not just the mint mark that makes this coin priceless. It's the combination of perfect strike, flawless copper, and untouched luster. Most coins from 1979 have scuffs, scratches, or discoloration. This coin is so pristine it looks almost new, as if it had been frozen in time. That's why collectors pay millions. Because perfection, in a coin so old, is almost unheard of. Every few minutes, someone discovers a penny with potential. But only a few have the qualities to reach this level of value. Many people miss the tiny detail that transforms a regular coin into a fortune. The D Mint mark must be perfectly struck, aligned with the date, and free from corrosion or wear. Any imperfection, and its value drops dramatically. The mystery deepens when you consider how many of these pennies could still be hidden. Millions were minted, yet only a handful meet the strict criteria for top condition status. Could one be sitting in your drawer right now, forgotten, worth millions of dollars? The thought sends shivers down the spine of any collector. The idea that your next trip to the local coin shop or a simple search in a jar could uncover a life-changing treasure is intoxicating. Collectors describe the thrill as nothing short of magical. The moment they spot a perfectly minted 1979 D Lincoln penny, their hearts race. Some have spent years hunting through boxes of coins, driven by the dream of discovering that elusive, perfect specimen. And for those who find one, the payoff is not just financial. It's the thrill of holding history, of holding a story that began decades ago, perfectly preserved in copper and bronze. But there's a catch. Many counterfeiters are aware of the value, so authenticity is key. Professional grading is essential. The difference between an ordinary penny and $1 million coin could be as small as a microscopic mark on the minting die. Experts urge anyone who suspects they own a 1979 D penny to have it professionally examined. This is not a gamble to take lightly. the stakes are too high. Dealers and auction houses have stories of bidders who flew across the country after hearing of a single coin for sale. They arrive with anticipation, holding their breath as the hammer falls. The excitement, the drama, the possibility of owning $1 million treasure, it's intoxicating. Every auction of a 1979 penny is a high-stakes spectacle, a reminder that even the smallest coin can carry immense value. And let's talk about the identifying marks, so you don't miss this life-changing find. Look for a perfectly centered D mint mark, positioned clearly below the date. The coin should have sharp details on Lincoln's bust, with no flattening of the features. The rim should be intact, unblemished, and the luster should gleam as if untouched by human hands. Any deviation from these signs, and you could be looking at an ordinary penny, but if it meets every criterion, you may be holding a secret worth over $1 million. Collectors are always on edge, scanning change with the hope that one day, fortune will favor them. And sometimes it does, in the most unexpected ways. From shoeboxes to couch cushions, from jars on the counter to pockets of old jeans, these pennies hide in plain sight, waiting for someone to recognize their value. Imagine the emotion of that moment, realizing that what you once saw as trivial pocket change could now change your life forever. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. So next time you handle a Lincoln penny, think twice before tossing it aside. Examine the mint mark, the alignment, the condition. You might just be holding a story, a history, and a fortune all at once. The 1979 Lincoln penny is more than a coin. It's a portal to the past, a testament to luck and perfection, and a potential key to unimaginable wealth. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but now, thanks to careful eyes and the collector's instinct, it stands as one of the most sought-after treasures in the numismatic world. Millions of dollars change hands over coins like this. Ordinary in appearance, extraordinary in reality. And the next time you pick up a penny, remember, the greatest treasures are often the ones hiding in plain sight. But what if I told you that one single 1969 Lincoln penny, missing its mint mark, has sold for nearly $2.6 million? One man's pocket change became a life-altering treasure, and collectors across the country are still scrambling to get their hands on one. It all starts with the unassuming Lincoln penny, the same coin you might find in your change jar. In 1969, the U.S. Mint struck millions of pennies across Philadelphia and Denver, but a tiny, almost imperceptible mistake created a coin that would shock the world decades later. The no mint mark penny wasn't just rare because of scarcity, it was rare because of an unthinkable error during production. Most people glance at pennies and see copper, not a fortune waiting to be discovered. But this coin hides a secret so minute, so deceptively simple, that it was completely overlooked for years. A misaligned die, a striking error so subtle that only the sharpest eyes could notice it, transformed an everyday penny into $1 million miracle. Collectors were shocked when the first 1969 no mint mark penny surfaced in top condition. Dealers could hardly believe what they were seeing. The coin gleamed with an almost impossible perfection, its copper surface unblemished, the Lincoln portrait flawless, and yet the missing mint mark whispered of a story no one else could tell. This was not just a penny, this was history, error, and fortune rolled into a tiny disc of copper. A casual collector, digging through a stack of coins inherited from his grandfather, noticed a penny that looked just slightly different. It wasn't the date, the shape, or even the copper's luster, it was a subtle absence, a missing D, that should have been stamped next to the year. He didn't know it at the time, but this small detail would change his life forever. Word spread like wildfire. Coin forums exploded with speculation. Dealers were calling every collector they knew. Auction houses scrambled to authenticate every reported 1969 no mint mark penny. Some sold for hundreds of thousands, others skyrocketed to millions of dollars. It was a feeding frenzy, and everyone wanted a piece of history. The key lies in understanding the minting process of 1969. Philadelphia pennies were normally struck with a die that imprinted a P mint mark, while Denver coins carried a D. But due to an extraordinary error, a small batch of pennies slipped through without any mint mark at all. These weren't just ordinary errors. They were meticulously minted coins, perfect in every other respect, that the mint never intended to exist. Imagine holding this penny in your hand. It feels ordinary, yet it carries the weight of $1 million story. Each line on Lincoln's face, each fine detail of the wheat stalk on the reverse, tells a story of precision, chance, and the random lottery of history. Only the keenest eyes can spot it, but once you do, there's no mistaking its value. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins, and collectors are scanning every jar, every old wallet, every forgotten piggy bank. What was once spare change could now unlock unimaginable wealth. One man's casual discovery became the talk of the numismatic world, a story that collectors will tell for generations. But there's more to this penny than just its rarity. The condition is everything. A penny in circulated condition may fetch a fraction of the price. But a coin in top condition, sharp details, perfect luster, no scratches, can sell for over $2.6 million. It's almost impossible to find, which only makes those that exist all the more valuable. Collectors need to watch for subtle cues: the absence of the mint mark, a fully intact date, flawless surfaces, and sharp lines around Lincoln's portrait. Even the slightest imperfection can reduce its value dramatically. And yet, finding one is like discovering a hidden treasure in your own home, a reminder that history sometimes slips right through our fingers, disguised as the everyday point. One man's fortune proves it. He found his penny in a dusty old box of coins his father had left him. At first, he didn't think much of it. It was only after a careful inspection, magnifying glass in hand, that he realized this was no ordinary coin. When it went to auction, the final hammer price was jaw-dropping. Millions of dollars changed hands, all for a single, small copper disc. This penny isn't just a collector's item, it's a lesson in patience, observation, and the thrill of discovery. Every coin you've ever glanced at could be hiding a story like this, a secret fortune waiting to be found. The thrill isn't just in the money, it's in the mystery, the history, and the breathtaking possibility that the next $1 million coin is sitting quietly in your pocket right now. Start by examining every 1969 penny closely. Look for the missing mint mark, the clarity of Lincoln's features, and the condition of the coin's surface. Compare it to standard pennies, and pay attention to details no casual observer would notice. And remember, while many coins are claimed to be rare, only a small fraction actually meet the criteria for this extreme valuation. Every second you wait, someone else is searching, someone else is discovering, someone else is holding what could be your future in their hands. The coin world is unpredictable, thrilling, and full of stories like this, and your moment could come at any time. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One small decision, one careful glance, could unlock a story that changes your life forever. Don't overlook the ordinary, because hidden inside the everyday, sometimes, is a fortune beyond imagination.